Well, hello everybody. We're going to do a quick midweek video for you. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins. I've got my sweet wife Ingrid here today. She's going to be asking us questions.
Yes, we had a question on the last video, I think we did. They asked about, she wrote us personally, I guess, and asked about if you have a large sum of money, like you sold your house and you wanted to invest it somewhere, would it be better to put it in something like SLV, like the miners, silver miners, or would you put it in tangibles?
Okay, so here's my thought on the miners. If you are in the dollar, you're taking a risk because the dollar is a fiat currency and it's about to collapse, in my opinion. And so you're taking a big risk there that how are you going to, if you get your dollars back out and the value of them has dropped so much or they're worthless, there's no value there in anything in the dollar, whether it's in your bank account or under your mattress or in land or whatever. It's the dollar's what's in trouble. And the next link in the chain that's weak is the banks. The banks are, about to fail, so they're leveraged and have no reserve and getting away with murder as far as their lending practices and working with the government on creating money. There's a weak link in the chain. Then you've got the brokerage firm. If the brokerage firm, for some reason, goes bankrupt, goes out of business, you're out. The hedge fund, if you're into a hedge fund, they are all in huge trouble right now.
Yeah.
You would lose your money because it would just go under, and they have bail-in laws and everything, so you'd be out there. Then you're never actually in the actual company. You are actually just getting a piece of paper. It's not actually you own a piece of the company. So if the company goes under, they can go up for auction, and the shovels and the rakes and the tractors and hard hats are all sold at auctions for pennies. Another person buys it, they step in, hang a different name on the company and start all over again with another company, and you're going to be out. So that's my thought that way. We're not giving financial advice. We're just giving our opinion, and then you educate yourself because everybody has different risk appetite, different age, different scenarios. So you have to educate yourself and figure out what's best for you. But then on the other side, if you have the gold and silver, it's going to give you the security, the hedge against the risk of the dollar, the risk of bankruptcies, the laws that are put in place to favor the banks, all of these things that are in place to favor the bank, you can protect yourself with gold and silver.
Right.
Now, in my opinion, I don't think you should be totally 100% in gold and silver. You may want to, I understand wanting to invest in something else. So you may want to find a small company right locally. It is possible to invest and actually own the companies. Say you buy a building that houses a gold and silver business, or invest in somebody that's got firewood comes to mind. Maybe you buy the equipment and encourage a guy to start his own firewood company. I'm going to take a sip of my drink because I've had...
Yeah, you've been talking a lot of customers here today.
It's been a long day with the customers, so
Yeah.
excuse the drink.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, as far as owning a company,
Right.
it's possible to just downsize your view and actually purchase the property, actually purchase some equipment. Find a person that you can sow into. Maybe it's a farmer, and you get with them and grow their business. Maybe they need a tractor, and you could take collateral somehow or another, and that way you've got something after the collapse. It works on both sides of the economy. The other thing about gold and silver miners is, if you've noticed how much they've gone down in price lately, a lot of people have lost money because they're going down. And I think that possibly, in my opinion, they could go even lower in an economic collapse situation, because people pull what they're doing right now. The reason they're going down is because people want to pull from something that's having a low yield and go into something that's riskier but has a higher yield. These tech stocks and things that are jumping, people are coming out of secure stocks, going into riskier stocks to get a higher yield. But in a collapse scenario, their margin requirement will require them to come up with cash quickly, and they'll continue to liquidate the silver miners and the gold miners. They'll liquidate them first in order to maintain their position and keep from having a total bloodbath. They'll liquidate the assets first, which will drive miners down even lower, okay?
Right. And the gold and silver is...
What's the next one?
I was going to say the gold and silver keeps you independent in a way. I mean, you don't have to depend on anybody else you have the power within yourself with the gold and silver to purchase things. Whereas if the dollar, if it's in a bank, if it's some stocks or something, you're always involving a third person.
Yes, the third person,
So,
where you have buyer and
right.
seller. You know, so if one person is selling, one person is buying, and they use gold and silver to exchange the deal, there's not a third party. And really, when you say third party, you're talking about the bank, the government,
Right.
you know, all the risk of the companies failing that we just talked about, all the avenues that your third party could fail on you.
Right.
And why would you trust your hard-earned money with a known criminal?
Yeah,
Nobody is,
that's so true.
going to say that a politician or the government is somebody you should trust with your wealth.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what you're doing when you put all your money into the dollars.
Exactly.
So we say to hedge, and it's an insurance. You know, gold and silver is insurance. We're not saying, oh, the Mad Max apocalypse is tomorrow. We're saying buy insurance. Buy insurance.
You have to buy insurance for everything else.
Yes,
Right?
you have insurance on your house in case it burns down. You have insurance on your car in case you get into an accident. Why don't you have insurance on the collapsing dollar? The dollar's collapsing every day. It's actually on fire. The house is on fire right now.
It's on fire, yeah.
Right now, you know, and you can buy insurance cheap right now.
That's true,
You know,
that's true.
Wouldn't it be great? Your house is burning down, and you could call the insurance company and say, "Hey, write me a
State Farm. Hey, write me-
$1 million policy for my
Yeah.
house. It's on fire." Well, you can do that right now with the dollar because it's crashing. You know, every day the price of things are going up.
Inflation is
The inflation, yeah, it's lost
crazy.
99% of its value, or something like that. 98% of the dollar's value. It's only got just a little tiny bit more to be completely worthless. So hedge right now while it's on fire. Get yourself some insurance.
And like what you were saying, Saudi Arabia just bought 100.
Yes, 160 tons, metric tons of gold, and they did it secretly,
Yeah.
so that they could not let the world
Yeah.
know that they're getting out of the dollar, because I think that they're going to back a unit of currency with gold, and I think 40%, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
but that's what the rumors are for the BRICS nations meeting that's happening in October.
Yeah. That's
Do you have any
great.
other questions?
I can't think of any.
How about the one that was on the comment that we had? It
you
may have been a
said-
couple of weeks ago.
You said about the pennies, nickels. And,
Yes, somebody
Yes.
asked about 1965 and newer
Right.
dimes,
that's right.
quarters. So let's back up. We'll talk about pennies. You know, a lot of people say, "Hey, I can't afford to get prepared. I can't afford this." Well, you can afford to set 1959 to 1981 pennies, which are copper. Set them aside. And we talked about in the other video how copper's going to go
Yeah.
from an industrial
Yes,
metal to a
that's right.
monetary metal. So you can be saving those pennies right now. And even regular pennies, halfway through 82 and on, just regular zinc pennies.
Yeah.
And then the question was 65 and newer dimes, quarters, and 70 and newer halves. Will they have any value? Well, just a few years ago, you could take those rolls, those $10 rolls of quarters, and go in and get, I believe it was $11. They gave you a 10% increase at the 7-Eleven or the Wawa gas station, because there was such a huge demand
That's
or
right.
shortage for these coins.
Yeah, I
Now,
remember that.
diversification is a big thing. These quarters and these dimes could be possibly used as tokens, as they did back in the Civil War, where we get so short on currency, like we did just a few years
it
ago,
wasn't long ago.
where we need something. Well, we can take those quarters and establish a value between us, and maybe restamp them or make it into a token with the merchant's
That's a good
stamp,
idea,
which
yeah.
you've seen those merchant
Yeah.
tokens that were used prior to
We
the
have
Civil
some
War.
here.
Yeah, we sell them here.
sell
We
them
used to. So these merchants tokens, so if you've got a mine, it's a silver mine, and they're mining and they've got a store, they could set up a token and use the old quarters or the old halves or whatever and put their name on them, and it could be currency again.
Right.
Now that's a far-fetched thing, and I wouldn't recommend it. You know, I would say, hey, take the
Yeah.
roll them up, go to your local silver guy and trade them in for silver. Be what
Right.
I would do. But those are some thoughts that maybe they could be used as tokens. The other
Yeah.
thing is there's real nickel in the nickel,
In the nickels.
and you could be saving those for the nickel. I don't think it's going to be advantageous, but it would be for fun.
And there are some nickels that have silver, 1942
Yes,
to 45.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and you can collect those at spot. you
That's
know.
true.
What was the word that we were talking about buying at spot? And you can use the 35%, the 40%, and the 80% silver.
Right.
But it's going to be very difficult to sell those, and it's a diversification thing, something to have fun with. But we were talking about how you can get that spot
Right.
and get the coins for free, but it's probably not the best way to go.
Probably not. I think the other is going to be more advantageous, definitely, than 90%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody coming by and
Thank you.
checking us out. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.